नमोस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः। Offering our salutations to Bhagavan Vedavyas ji, we begin with an introduction to Brahma Sutra. As you know, Brahma Sutra is part of Prasthanatrayi, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and Brahma Sutra. Prasthiyate anenam, prasthiyate anena iti prasthanam, that by which we reach our goal is called prasthanam. So these three, Upanishads, Gita and Brahma Sutra, they take us to our goal. In other words, our goal should be moksha. What is Brahma Sutra? So we should know what is Brahma, what is Sutra, and what is the sambandha between these two padas. What is Brahma? In Upanishads, it is revealed as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That which is existence, consciousness, and infinite. But in Brahma Sutra, Sutrakara himself is going to say what is Brahma Sutra. And that he is going to mention in the second sutra. So Brahma is Janmadhyasya yataha. Yataha, yasmat, that from which Jagat Janmadis are there. That is Brahma. So Jagataha Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karanam. That which is the Utpatti Sthiti and Laya Karanam means Upadana Karanam of Jagat. That is Brahma. And that is given in Taittiriya Upanishad also, it is given in Brihadaranyaka also, it is given in Chandogya also, all Upanishads. So this is Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is Swarupa Lakshana. Janmadhyasya yataha, it indicates Tatastha Lakshana. So this is Brahma. Brahma is indicated by both. And what is Sutra? Sutrartho, Sutra is Alpaksharam Asandigdham Saravat Vishwato Mukham Astobham Anavadyam Cha Sutram Sutravido Viduhu. Alpaksharam means that which has minimal words to communicate the meaning. But if you reduce the number of words and it becomes ambiguous, then it is of no use. So it should be asandigdham also. There should not be any sandeha, scope for any doubt. It is asandigdham. Saravat. Saravat means it has the ability to present the essence. Saravat means Saravala, that which has the essence. Vishwato Mukham, Vishwa means Sarva. Sarvato Mukham means it can have many facets, many ways of presenting. So you will see in Brahma Sutra, there are different varnakas for some sutras. Varnaka means there are varieties in which it is presented. By changing the samasa in some cases, or by changing the context in some cases. Like you will see the third sutra, there are two varnakas. And later also you will find words like Shruti and Smriti. So Sutrakar uses the words like Pratyaksha and Paroksha. Shruti is Pratyaksha. Smriti is Paroksha. So same sutra can be understood in different ways. This is Vishwato Mukham. And Astobham. Stobha means that which has unnecessary words. It's called Stobham. Not even an extra tu or y or he will be there. What to talk of words like Om Phat Ityadi. You know, they have some such words sometimes. So they are not there in Sutra. Sutra is very compact with whatever is required, only the essential things. And Anavadyam. Avadyam means impure, blemishable, that on which you can have some criticism. But these sutras are very pure. In other words, sutra should be pure. Sutra literature should be pure. Now, we may say, you know, this, we are defining the meaning of Brahma Sutra. And in that sutra comes. But somebody says, oh, we have Sankhya Sutra, we have Nyaya Sutra, we have Jaimini Sutra, we have Panini Sutra, Patanjali Sutra, so many sutras are there. But all Sutrakaras, they try to keep as much purity of their thought while composing them. And therefore, there is no impurity of other Shastra, for example. If it is Vedanta Sutra, it will have the Vedanta literature intact, presented through those sutras. If it is Vyakarana Sutra, Vyakarana Sutra's job is maintain the purity of Vyakarana and present Vyakarana for the sadhakas. Similarly, Yoga Sutra, Jaimini, the Purvamimamsa Sutras, etc. So it is Anavadyam. This is called Sutra. 6 teachers are there. So here we have Brahma Sutra, Brahmanaha Sutram, Brahma Sutram. It will be Napunsakalinga. So Brahma Sutram. Sutras of Brahma. Means sutras which have Brahma as their Vishaya. Because there has to be some subject matter about which these sutras are composed. So obviously Brahma Sutra will have Brahma as their Vishaya. Vyakarana Sutra will have Vyakarana as their Vishaya. Sutra means a thread. So if a garland has to be made, In that garland, there is a sutra. So what is the sutra? Brahma is the sutra. Then the question is, what are the flowers or what are the beads, of any mala? What are those beads? So they are the Upanishad mantras. Brahma Sutra connects those Upanishad mantras to come out with a beautiful garland which has interwoven these Upanishad mantras. And of course, the essential sutras are taken for discussion in Brahma Sutra. So that leads us to the next question. Achha, sutra means one more thing. Suchanat sutram ityahu. Suchanat, that which gives some suchana. Suchana means indication, some teaching. So sutras give some indications. That is also their purpose. Okay. Now, Brahma Sutra is also called Nyaya Prasthana. As you know, Upanishads are Shruti Prasthana. Gita is Smriti Prasthanam. Brahma Sutra is called Nyaya Prasthana. Nyaya Prasthana means the way Brahma Sutras are presented, they are like a reason, a hetu. In other words, there is some pratignya for which there is a hetu. And that hetu is there to do sadhya siddhi. So you will find lot of sutras in fifth case. Panchami or Tritiya. Tritiya is also for hetu. Therefore, there is some pratignya associated with those sutras and some reason is given. Obviously, there will not be laukika drashtantas. But if required, they are given. Only so that the pratignya becomes clear. What is the objective of the acharya there? So this is basic. Okay, now let us think a little bit more. Sankhya Darshan has their own sutras. Then Sankhya Acharyas wrote some karikas. And thereafter, more literature came out in Sankhya. Same is true for Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purvamimamsa, etc. All the darshanas, they have their sutra literature. But in Vedanta, the sutras are not independent work. They are based only on Upanishads. Like Sankhya Sutras, they are not dependent upon Upanishads. Yoga Sutras, they are not dependent upon Upanishads. Yoga Sutras are independent work of Patanjali Maharshi to talk about Yoga Darshan. Upanishad Sutras or Vedanta Sutras are not like that. Vedanta Sutras are based on Upanishads only. Therefore, even though Brahma Sutra is a separate work, but you cannot say Brahma Sutra talks about what Ved Vyasji wants to talk. Like Patanjali Maharshi ji talks about what he wanted to talk, right? Jaimini Maharshi ji talks about what he wanted to talk in Purva Mimamsa Sutra. But in Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavan Vedvyas ji is telling what Upanishad is saying. This is the Bheda. And therefore, we should not compare that, oh, they have their sutra, we have our sutra, they are similar. If you say Vedanta Sutra is Pramanam, their sutras are also equally Pramanam. This is a wrong argument. Because Vedanta Sutra is Pramanam because Upanishad is Pramanam. And Upanishad is Apaurushaya. All of their Acharya's literatures are Paurushaya. So there is no comparison. This point, if it is clear, we will never get deluded by this sutra and that sutra, everything is same, everything is not same. So we should note that. Then just as other darshanas on their sutras, acharyas have written commentaries to explain, because sutras are so brief. And somebody has to know what is the meaning of these words. So, Bhagavan Bhashyakara has written Bhashya on these sutras. There is something very interesting I will share with you. So, of course, Bhagavan Bhashyakara's Bhashya is there. Then on Brahma Sutra Bhashya, known as Shariraka Bhashya, because he calls these sutras as Shariraka Sutra. And this Mimamsa is called Shariraka Mimamsa. In Adhyasa Bhashya, this sentence he gives. On that, first Tika was written by Padmapadacharya ji. That's why Padmapadacharya ji is originally called Tikakara. But he did not write Tika on all Upanishads, etc., like Anand Giriji. So Anand Giriji became Tikakar, like more popular. But in certain literatures, if you see, Tikakaraihi Uktam, something like that. So you should understand this is they are referring to Padmapadacharyaji's Tika on Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Means in smaller texts you will not find those. It will be only in those advanced texts where Acharyas refer to Padmapadacharyaji as Tikakara. Then on that there is Vivarana, that you know. Vivarana, and then on Vivarana there is Tattvadipanam, and on Tattvadipanam there is Ruju Vivarana. Like that, Sutra, Bhashya, Panchapadika Tika, that Padmapadacharyaji's Tika is called Panchapadika. Panchapadika, then Vivarana, then Tattvadipanam, Ruju Vivarana, like that. And then Vachaspatiji Mishra, he also wrote Tika on Bhagavan Bhashyakara's work. That is called Bhamati Tika. Then on Bhamati, again there are so many Tikakars like Kalpataru, then Parimala, like that. And people study. And the more Tika and like commentaries and sub-commentaries are there, that shows how much thinking has gone in on that subject. That shows the depth of those sutras. And of course, people want to elaborate so much, so literature just increases. Okay. Now, the style of writing for Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutras, they are written in the form of adhikarana. Adhikarana means a topic, let us say. A topic for analysis where there is debate, where there is difference of opinion. within Vedanta. I am not talking about some Sankhya and other people. Mostly this is within Vedanta. There could be debate with Sankhya, etc. But within Vedanta, if we have difference of opinion, how should I understand this mantra? Bhagavan Vedvyasji, out of great compassion, took such topics for discussion in Brahma Sutra. So maybe it is like a dual purpose. Brahma Sutra is dual purpose. One is to show Vedanta Darshan. Second is to remove those doubts, those areas where there are doubts. So samshaya nivritti. That's why it is for mananam. Brahma Sutra is for mananam. Upanishads are for shravanam. Then it is for mananam. So two purposes. One is to show Vedanta Darshan through Brahma Sutra. Second is to remove doubts. Now these adhikaranas, adhikarana means a topic. Topic has 5 areas which are discussed. 5 areas. One is called Vishaya. Vishaya means subject matter. So one adhikarana will have a Vishaya Vakya. The wonder is, Sutrakar, when he writes Sutra, he has the Vishaya Vakya in his mind. Let's say 3, 4, 500 years later, somebody is writing Bhashya on it. Now you imagine. Bhashyakara has to know what is the Vishaya he has in mind. In those cases where somebody wrote Sutra and that same person wrote Bhashya, it is very easy. If that person is live and he tells you, it is also easy. But it didn't happen like that. Bhagavan Bhashyakar came much later and he wrote Bhashya. That's when Bhagavan Vedvyasi wanted to know whether he is understanding what I have written or not. That's where they had the debate. It is said, Bhagavan Vedvyasi came in the form of a Brahmana and they had Shastra Charcha. And he took only some specific sutras for discussion to understand whether he understands or not. When he saw that Bhashyakar has understood, then he said, I will bless you with twice lifespan. So earlier he was supposed to live only 16 years in that human form, but it was doubled so that the work can be completed, it can spread. So this Vishaya Vakya, I will give some examples. Somewhere they are very easy, somewhere they are impossible to think what is he talking. Because sutras don't have elaboration. Janmadhyasya yataha, it is said, it is easy. Somewhere you will figure out yato vai mani bhutani jayante, something like that. Or tadananyatvam arambhana shabdadibhya. So arambhana means, somewhere vacharambhanam is there. So he is referring to that. So that much Vishaya Vakya you can gather. Prakritischa pratignya drashtanta anuparodhat. Brahma is Prakriti also of this Jagat. Prakriti means Upadana Karanam. On the strength of Pratignya means what is Vedanta Pratignya? Eka Jnanena Sarva Vijnana. And Drashtantas are given. Mrit, Loha, Suvarnamani. Suvarna. These three drashtantas. So somewhere it is clear that what is there in the mind of Sutrakara. But in many places, like Ramhati Adhikara, this Panchagni Vidya topic, they are not easy to recognize what is the discussion here. But Bhagavan Bhashyakara, he was the avatar of Shiva, so he could understand those things. And Bhagavan Vedvyasji is avatar of Narayana himself. When all the people were chanting the 108 names, I was constantly having doubt which names they are chanting. Because I thought they are chanting Bhagavan Krishna's 108 names. Today Pradyumnaya Namaha and Sankarshanaya Namaha. And I was wondering, same names are there in Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Bhaktavatsalaya Namaha. So I actually checked whether they are Vedavyasji's names or not. But fortunately, in between somewhere, Vedavyasaya Namaha and all came. So then I was comfortable. So that is because he is avatar of Bhagavan Narayana. So Vishaya, in Adhikarana, one is Vishaya, subject matter. Second is Vishaya, means Samshaya. What is the doubt? What are we having the conflict on? So that has to be discussed. Then what is Purvapaksha Matam? Third. What is Siddhanta Matam? Fourth. These two also you have to tell. Purvapaksha means somewhere the word, let us say, is Atma. So Purvapakshi says it's talking about Jivatma, and Siddhanti will say it is talking about Paramatma. So this Jivatma, Paramatma could be the topic of discussion. Somewhere the word is Prana, but that Prana can mean Atma, Prana can mean Hiranyagarbha, Prana can mean Prana, Prana can mean Paramatma, anything. So such things are discussed. Okay. And fifth one is Sangati. 5 topics are there. Vishayo Vishayaschaiva Purvapakshas Tathottaram Sangatischeti Panchangam Shastre Dhikaranam Smritam. Fifth one is the Sangati. Sangati means what is the connection between one adhikarana and another adhikarana, one sutra and another sutra, one pada of Brahma Sutra and another pada, one adhyaya and another adhyaya. There could be different sangatis. So they all are discussed. This is how one adhikarana is presented. Okay. Now let us come little forward. Jaimini Maharshi ji had already written Purvamimamsa Sutras in the form of Athato Dharma Jignasa. And Bhagavan Vedvyasi wrote Athato Brahma Jignasa, means Vedanta Sutras. Shariraka Sutra. Shariraka Shabda is Sharire Bhavaha Shariraha. That which is Atma, who because of identification with Sthula and Sukshma Sharira is thought of as Jiva, but is really Brahma. So this Jiva associated with Sharira is essentially Brahma, is what the sutras want to point out. If I had no sambandha with Sharira, it would have been so easy to know I am Brahma. There was no need of so much study and sadhana or so many janmas. If I was associated with Sharira, You understood the first point? That if I am associated with Sharira, but I am not belonging to Sharira, I am Brahman. Therefore, this is different. I should separate myself. This is what Shastra, the Brahma Sutra wants to point out. If I was with Sharira and that was my Swarupa, that was my nature, there was no need of any Shastra. Because I am Deha, I am associated with Deha over. So there are two things. If I was unassociated with Sharira and always Brahman, there is no need to write Shastras. If I am always associated with Sharira and I belong there only, there is no need of writing Shastra. But there is a third scenario. I am with Sharira, but I am really not with Sharira. And this is where all sadhana, struggle, everything is. If somebody tells me you are dukhi, you are going to be dukhi and you will eternally be dukhi, so why struggle? You see, you are not at all associated with body. Therefore, you never have delusion also in your dream also that I am associated with body. So there is no problem. But I am associated with body, but not really. Therefore, there is a need to give me instructions, clear teaching, and I have to go through sadhana. So this is the objective. In these, Brahma Sutras had to be shown existing separately from Dharma Sutras or Purva Mimamsa Sutras. Because only these two darshanas, they are based on Vedas. Sankhya Sutra, Nyaya Sutra, Yoga Sutras, they are separate works. They are not works on Veda. But Purva Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa both are on Veda. Mimamsa means Pujita Vichara. So these two are on Veda, but we want to show that they have different objectives. And to show that, Anubandha Chatushtaya is taken. That Anubandha of these two is different. Therefore, Adhikari is different, Vishaya is different, Prayojanam is different. Therefore, Sambandha is different. Therefore, there are two darshanas. So, no one can say that because there is already one work on sutras, on Vedas written in the form of sutras, which is Purva Mimamsa Sutras, why are you writing another work on Vedas in the form of sutras? Understood the question, right? If someone says, already sutras are available on Vedas, why you want to write sutras on Vedas? He said, they are sutras on Vedas, but their Anubandha is different. They are meant for that adhikari who wants to go to Swarga, who wants some bhoga, some name, fame, something. So their Vishaya is different. Prayojanam is different. Vedanta Darshana Adhikari is the one who wants only moksha. The Vishaya subject matter is Brahmatma Aikya. And Prayojanam is Avidya Nivritti Brahma Prapti. How it is given as Brahmavid Apnoti Param or Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. How they say Brahmaveda Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of this Brahma is Brahma. That is Brahma Prapti, Parama Prapti. This is the Prayojana. which we in loose language they say Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti Paramananda Prapti in this. So adhikari Vishaya Prayojanam are different. Therefore, there is a need of separate sutras called Brahma Sutras. As part of this Anubandha Chatushtaya, Bhagavan Bhashyakar wrote Adhyasa Bhashya to show certain things. What is that? First is, we want to show that it is distinct from Purvamimamsa Sutras. How it is shown? That here in Brahma Sutra, the topic is of knowledge, jnanam, not karma. How is this presented? Because problem is ajnanam. Therefore, topic is jnanam. And instead of addressing ajnanam, he addresses adhyasa, which is ajnana karya. So, because there is adhyasa, adhyasa nivritti will happen through Vedanta. Whereas Purvamimamsa does not talk about adhyasa, because they say whatever is the problem is real, and that real problem will be solved by karma. So now there are two different darshanas. One darshana says problem is real and it has to be solved through karma and karma alone. And the other darshana says problem is in superimposition, adhyasa, therefore it has to be solved through knowledge. So this difference in the vision. So somebody may say, let's say I am hungry. How will you say what is the problem? Problem is because I am having adhyasa. So really speaking, Brahma is not hungry. Brahma doesn't have pain of hunger. Problem of hunger has come because Brahma has identified with Panchakosha where there is Ashana Pipasa. This is what Vedanta wants to show. So we don't say hunger problem will go away if you understand this knowledge. We say this knowledge will tell you you don't have hunger. The one who has hunger can eat food, can take rest, whatever they need to do, they should do. That is different matter. But the problem of hunger is appearing, is expressing because I, the one who is Brahma, has identified with Panchakosha. This is first thing. So instead of just figuring out how to solve the problem of hunger with varieties of food, the thinking is the main reason why Adhyasa Bhashya is presented. And as part of that, the Vishaya and Prayojanam, they are explained. So, Vishaya Prayojanam are given in Adhyasa Bhashya itself. And Adhikari is the one who has Brahma Jignasa. This is how Athato Brahma Jignasa comes. Okay. So I think with this much introduction, we have come up to Sutra number 1. More of that we will have to see in the following session. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.